In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York takes place 1 year after the events of the original movie. And this time we see Kevin McAllister, played by Macaulay Culkin, who loses track of his family while he boards a plane to New York City instead of Florida. Because he loses track because he's putting battery in his Talk Boy. If you remember that Talk Boy, it was really, really popular when this movie came out and was a hot Christmas toy item at that time. Now, the interesting thing about this movie is that he goes and gets lost in one of the biggest cities in the world. Not only that, he kind of makes his way and kind of, in a way, cons his way into the Plaza Hotel. While we are introduced to new characters, be it Tim Curry as the concierge and Rob Schneider as the bellboy. The aspect of those two characters being introduced in this and having their own story with Kevin in New York is really, really fun and really, really interesting. Not only that, as Kevin is walking the streets of New York, he's experienced everything. Christmas time in New York City is probably one of the best things to ever experience. If you haven't experienced it, go there and you'll have a blast. As he's walking the streets, he runs into the Wet Bandits, or as they're called now, the Sticky Bandits. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern do return to reprise their roles from the first film as Harry and Marv, and it's absolutely so much fun. Now, they escaped prison and are on the loose once again, but this time they want to rob Duncan's Toy Chest, which is kind of a toy store which is based off of FAO Schwarz in New York City. Kevin goes there, he meets the owner. He doesn't know he's the owner, but a little interesting aspect goes through with it and kind of a heartfelt scene between the owner and Kevin. And as Kevin receives turtle doves from the owner, two turtle doves, you have one with you. This one you give to someone very, very special. So Kevin gives the owner money to donate for Christmas for the Children's Hospital. This is really, really fun. And once again, the booby traps in this are interesting. He goes to a house that is being renovated by his other side of the family, and he just sets up booby traps. One more eccentric on top of another booby traps. That's reminiscent of the very first movie, but one-upped a little bit. You get the paint cans again in this one, but Harry and Marv remember every little detail, but they miss out on certain things because everything's just elevated one more. Like the paint cans, two paint cans, and all of a sudden he throws a pipe down and it hits him in the face, and they fall down an open hole in the floor. They have to make their way up. Harry gets his head burned again. I mean, it's always interesting how everything is done, and Marv, in a way, kind of gets electrocuted and gets... it's just funny how it is. And the whole brick scene, the brick being thrown off the roof and landing on Marv is great. The aspect is so simple because it's once again directed by Chris Columbus. It's written by John Hughes. You get those two back for a sequel, it's going to be a big hit. And this was a big hit during the holiday season. This was released November 20th, 1992 and runs for 120 minutes, so exactly 2 hours. The budget was $28 million and it grossed $360 million at the box office. So it was much more of an on-par hit with the original movie. Not only that, Tim Curry as the concierge was done really well. We don't really know his name, but in the credits it says concierge, or now we find out it's Mr. Hector. Done really well. There's a scene where he goes into Kevin's room and he kind of runs into the clown dancing in the bathtub. It's a great scene. The scene with You Filthy Animal is fun and great, and it's just aspect of one-upping everything. I mean, you could tell that John Hughes had a fun time writing this because he had to change everything really quickly, and people are like, oh, it's just like the first movie. Well, yeah, okay, the story is like the first movie, but it's different. What do you do? How do you up it? Once again, you do this. You put Kevin somewhere where he doesn't know, and the family's down in Florida. The aspect of how everything works is great. The bird lady is fun, or the pigeon lady, really good. He befriends her, and it's just heartfelt. The messages that are in this with how Kevin, during the Christmas time, and like I said, the booby traps are fun to watch. It's just great. I would say this is slightly better than the first movie, but you can't compete with the first movie. The first movie is an instant classic, as is this one. And the funny thing is the ending. He rakes up a room service bill close to $967 on room service, and it's absolutely funny. It's a great high note of how this ended, and it's sad that this only was two movies featuring Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister, because you could have done so much more, but then how could you do more of the same thing, if that makes sense? For me, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York gets 4 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about the aspect of the story? Did you like it? Did you think it was too much? And what did you think about Kevin McAllister being lost in one of the biggest cities in the world? Did you like the aspect of the booby traps being a little bit one-upped? Do you think that they actually could have died by this? I mean, scientific explanation so many years later have said nobody could have survived in these booby traps, which is probably true. And what was your favorite scene, and what was your least favorite scene in the movie? And what did you like about the first and the second movie, and what didn't you like? Let me know in the comment section below about all the questions I just asked, and I'll see you all in the next review video, and thank you for tuning in.